Welcome back. President Biden currently faces just two minor Democratic challengers. Robert Kennedy Jr., he has a famous name, but he's a lawyer and a vaccine skeptic whose candidacy has been boosted by people like Steve Bannon and financed in part by MAGA donors, believe it or not. Then there's Marianne Williamson. You may remember her from 2020. She's a self-help author and was on the debate stage briefly in 2020. Academic Cornel West is vying for the Green Party nomination and could pull votes from the left. And West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin is flirting with an independent run and may leave the party to do that. And now Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips is calling for a more competitive Democratic primary, saying voters don't want a coronation, they want a competition. Phillips, who is in his third term representing suburban Minneapolis, let me tell you a little bit about him. He lost his father in Vietnam. After business school at the University of Minnesota, Mr. Phillips joined the family business, Phillips Distilling. He went on to help build Talenti Gelato into a top-selling gelato brand and also opened Penny's Coffee, a small business in the Twin Cities. And he is, like I said, in his third term. Phillips has denounced, by the way, the No Labels attempt to fill a third-party ticket, but he has called for serious Democratic primary challengers to President Biden. And last week he met with Democratic donors in New York about the race and potentially entering it himself if no one else does. Congressman Phillips, welcome to Meet the Press.
Good to be with you, Chuck.
If I sum this up right, you are not interested in being a candidate for president technically yourself right now, or are you?
That's a fair statement.
Okay.
What I'm technically and legitimately doing is representing. I'm a representative, and I'm representing what I believe to be the majority of the country that wants to turn the page. Tired of the meanness and the fear-mongering of Donald Trump. I would like to see Joe Biden, a wonderful and remarkable man, pass the torch, cement this extraordinary legacy.
You don't want him to run for re-election?
I believe what's in the best interest of the country. And by the way, this is not how everybody thinks, but I do believe a majority wants to move on. I hear from way too many people. Now, the news was that I was meeting with donors. The fact is I listen to normal Americans every day and my own feelings. And
is this all about age?
No, this is about how people feel. By the way, it's not about what's real all the time. It's about how people feel. People want to turn the page. I think that's fair to say. As a Democrat, I adore Joe Biden. He saved this country. He can cement his legacy. My real call to action right now is not about me. The call to action is to ask the president to pass the torch. There is an extraordinary bench of people ready to go, proximate,
who would you like to see in
position.
this race?
I would like to see a moderate governor, hopefully from the heartland, from one of the 4 states that Democrats will need.
So let's see, Gretchen Whitmer. You'd like to see her, or is it Tim Walz, your home state governor, Tony Evers? Help me out here.
You just said a few names I think would be great. Josh Shapiro. There are a number of people. J.B. Pritzker. Some people have asked me that I not use their names because of this institutional fear that it might impact you down the road. This is the time to meet the moment. And I'm doing something that I know it's unpopular as a Democrat, but I'm speaking truth. That's my job. My duty is to the people I represent, but also to represent the mass majority. And I want to say this about Democrats. It's really important. Joe Biden right now is down 7 points in the 4 swing states that will decide the next election. He has historically low approval numbers, Chuck. There are about 55% of Democrats would like to see an alternative. I can keep going down the list. The fact of the matter is
everything you're saying we've all heard in private as well. Why do you think it's all private? Why do you think this hand-wringing is only really gone public through you?
It's very simple. People are focused on self-preservation and not principle. There is no political reward in the United States right now for simply speaking the truth. Look at what happened to my Republican colleagues who dared do the right thing and support the Constitution. Support the Constitution, the only thing to which we're duty-bound. Look at what happened to them. It is not good to get out of line. It's not good to raise your hand, stand up, shout a little bit at a time we need it more than ever. And I'm afraid that that's the culture in this institution here in Washington, D.C.
And I saw you believe the Hunter Biden news actually reinforces this even more, don't you?
I don't think the president is corrupt. I think the investigation will show that. But, and this is the important part, it's the image. It's what the news will do. We know what era we live in partisanship. It is the attachment to the president. Most people aren't watching Meet the Press every weekend.
Wouldn't this happen to any Democratic nominee?
It probably will, and it saddens me. And and these are the people I'm trying to represent right now, Chuck, the people who are sick and tired of this nonsense. We have a duopoly, we have a political industrial complex that if they agree on anything, it's the status quo. And by the way, now I have trouble with Donald Trump. I do not have trouble with Trumpers who are trying to find somebody to change this system. The hardware is fine. The software is a problem. The people with whom we're populating the system, and I understand the need for transparency. We need to restore faith in government. We should do that in a thoughtful, meaningful, legitimate, and bipartisan manner, and it can be done. We need leaders in the next generation to do so, and I'm just simply expressing that point of view that I think is shared by a majority of Americans.
What can President Biden do to reassure you he is up to a second term?
I'm not saying he's not up to a second term. What I'm saying is look at the data. I listen. My job is to listen. I do it every single day back in Minnesota.
Right. Can he
all around
change the data?
That's the challenge. I come from the marketing world. You just explained my background. Sometimes you got a product that is extraordinary, meets the moment, you think is going to be the next big thing, and it just doesn't happen. And in business, you got to recognize it because the data speaks the truth. The data is speaking the truth right now. And if nobody's willing to talk about it before it's too late, that's the key.
The case against what you're talking about is basically the history of our lifetimes, okay? You go back, the last 4 sitting presidents who had serious primary challengers, that party lost the White House.
But
Chuck,
why did they?
We can go back to LBJ, but also Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter,
Ronald
George
Reagan.
H.W. Bush.
But why were they primaried? Because people recognized they were weakened. The country was ready to turn the page. Now we can have an hour debate on this subject. I understand that. I don't want to be. I ran for Congress in 2016. After the 2016 election, I woke up that next morning. My teenage daughters were in tears. I promised them I would do something. I'm not going to be quiet now, 5 years later, when the same trauma could be afflicting the country if Donald Trump is reelected. So I will do nothing to ensure that Donald Trump is reelected. But Chuck, it's really important that people know this. I'm doing just the opposite. And if people aren't willing right now to have that conversation, to have the discussion, and most importantly, to present some alternatives, how in the world are we going to look at these numbers and say everything's okay? But hopes and dreams and prayers, I love them. They don't solve gun violence. They don't give health insurance to Americans, right? And they sure as heck won't change the numbers that I'm seeing right now.
Have you talked to Joe Manchin? You want him to run in a Democratic primary instead of as an independent for no labels?
I want anybody who wants to run, Joe Manchin, Cornel West, any of the governors.
You want him in the primary?
In the primary. That's why we have primaries, because that doesn't undermine the likelihood of returning, in this case, a Democrat to the White House. So that is the key. Enter the primary, my friends. Everybody who is on the bench, meet the moment. Don't wait 5 years. We need you now.
When are you going to make a decision? You're waiting for somebody who you've said with a bigger name
to
come in. How long are you going to wait?
Waiting is like hopes and prayers. I'm actively inviting, encouraging, to some degree imploring that people who are ready and know it's probably time to do so, take the chance.
You met with donors. Are they directly going to some of these candidates and pleading with them to get in or not?
Well, Chuck, if donors and average, everyday, wonderful, normal Americans are coming to me, of all people, you don't think they're approaching those people in much higher numbers with even more frequency? No, I know. No, I know they are.
Okay.
And I'll make the decision once I do my darndest in the next month or so to encourage others to do so. Please, this is an appeal to everybody of good conscience and good character. Let's turn the page and imagine how fun, hopeful, and exciting it would be. We're going to do it.
Dean Phillips, Democrat from suburban Minnesota, thanks for coming out, sharing your
Chuck.
perspective. And we will see you, hopefully, at this table when you make your decision.
I look forward to it.
All right.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.